Hello and welcome to VOA's Red Carpet. I'm your host, Jackson Vunganyi, with the latest in celebrity news, in fashion, sports, film, television from around the world. Let's begin. So much to unpack from this year's 2019 BET Awards. So let's get started with some red carpet looks that were on fire at the Los Angeles show. Bold-up R&B singer Alan Mai kept her outfit bright and simple in neon green.
No, I think summer just started. The sun has come out, so I was like, why don't we just go with a pop of color? I think neon is really in right now, especially for us females. So we were like, why not?
Regina Hall hosted the show, appearing in a sketch imitating Beyonce during the behind the scenes of her recent Coachella Netflix documentary, as Hall explained the importance of her hometown of Washington, D.C. to background dancers. She then brought Beyonce's iconic performance to life, appearing on stage with a marching band, with Sugar Bear from the DC-based go-go band EU performed. Cardi B unleashed an explosive performance of her new single, Press, rapping on top of her husband, Offset. She won Album of the Year for Invasion of Privacy, which won the Grammy for Best Rap Album earlier this year. Lizzo had a fiery performance with Truth Hurts, while Lil Nas X brought his global country rap hit Old Town Road to life on stage with a makeshift Western saloon alongside country singer Billy Ray Cyrus. Musicians such as her and rapper 2 Chainz took turns singing BET's praises for the work they have done to elevate the African American community.
It's so important because if we don't do it, who else will? Who else will? We acknowledge each other. This is where we are a community and we stand together. We have to be united. We have to support each other. That is important as a community.
It puts us all in the same room at the same time. That's very rare, It's like all the all-stars in one room. It's a great feeling to be here.
The late Nipsey Hussle was honored with the Humanitarian Award, which his family accepted on his behalf. Hussle was a respected and beloved activist in Los Angeles who was shot to death outside his clothing store earlier this year. Civil rights activist Reverend Al Sharpton eulogized Hussle, who celebrated his father's Eritrean heritage.
He was an example. He showed that he was not running from his community. He made some money and invested in the community. And I'm so happy that they're honoring him tonight. That's one of the reasons I'm here. He exemplifies what we want. Our best doing their best to help the rest.
Rihanna presented Mary J. Blige with a Lifetime Achievement Award, calling her the queen of hip-hop and R&B. Blige talked about trying to make history while positively serving others before she performed a number of her big hits, during which she included Lil' Kim and Method Man. Rihanna may have been the one presenting a Lifetime Achievement Award, but she's achieving a lot herself. For one, by making her fans feel included when it comes to fashion. For her first clothing pop-up for her brand Fenty in New York City, she had curvy mannequins displaying her designs, which prompted her fans to react on Twitter, praising the woman of many talents. And did we mention that Riri's hometown plans to dedicate a museum for her in Barbados? Well, Barbados Prime Minister Mai Amor Motley says there are plans for an interactive cultural tribute to the singer. He said that anybody who could start going to school on a ZR, that's a route taxi from Westbury to Waterford, and could now be the most successful woman entertainer in the entire globe, deserves to be recognized in her life as a living legend of Barbados as well as the world. And we totally agree right here on Red Carpet. And talking about museums, some facilities in the United States are striving to be more accessible to everyone, and that includes touchable versions of photographs and paintings for people who may not be able to see them. At a recent expo by the American Alliance of Museums in New Orleans, new technology was used to help the visually impaired see art and pictures. VOA's Deborah Block tells us more. Let's check it out.
This is how you feel art. Here, these exhibitions show different ways to help the impaired enjoy the works on display by creating images in order to produce 3D art.
One of our big focuses now is on accessibility as part of our focus on diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. And sometimes being accessible means translating things into different sensory realms. So can you make something visible for people who don't who have hearing impairments? Can you make something touchable for people who have visual impairments?
Members of the National Federation of the Blind tried out the three-dimensional images that feature raised subjects and varying textures.
Very often when we go to museums, we see glass enclosures with nothing for us. There's no way for us to experience what our sighted counterparts experience. And this kind of is an equalizer for us.
The technology was developed by 3D PhotoWorks.
We've developed a technology that converts any two-dimensional image, any painting, drawing, collage, photograph, satellite view, to a three-dimensional tactile image.
The displays include a war scene, musical art painting, and a historical painting, as well as a campus map.
So this one right here I can read in Braille and see that it has a specific meaning, that this is a street. So the street has this texture, and this button also is audio representation of it as well.
For the visually impaired, the technology helps them to be part of something they could not see before.
This evolving technology really is about inclusion. It really is about making us a part of the world in which we live.
Deborah Block, VOA News.
Actress Viola Davis is taking decisive action to make change in the world. The 53-year-old Oscar winner sees the power of art as the great equalizer, so she took a stand by forming her own production company with a mandate to normalize people of color on screen.
So that we're not just social statements, we're not mythical creatures all the time, that you can literally put pen to paper and write a great story that include people of color, and it could actually sell.
The industry is moving toward increased diversity, especially in the era of #MeToo and the time's up. And it's apparent on award show podiums with actors and directors calling for 50-50 inclusion riders on every project. But Davis says that she does not need a piece of paper to do the right thing. She calls her Juvie Productions a walking metaphor of inclusion.
Every member of our staff is represented by a person of color, by the LGBTQ community. Every single narrative that comes through our doors that we accept have people of color. Women are at the forefront of just about every project.
She started Juvie Productions with her husband Julius Tenon in 2011 so she could have more of a voice in her own career, as well as provide a more balanced makeup on set. She says prior to that, she often felt left out of the conversation. Meanwhile, filmmaker Lena Waithe recently gave a strong opinion on how black movie stars could do more to support up-and-coming black filmmakers. In an interview with the New York Times, she pointed out how films like 12 Years a Slave were put out by a production company co-founded by Brad Pitt rather than Denzel Washington or Will Smith. You won't catch me making $20 million a movie and not paying at least 4 or 5 independent movies a year, Waithe added. From changing the world to traveling the world, let's head to Italy, where George Clooney gave his friend and former US President Barack Obama a little ride on Lake Como aboard a motorboat. The two men, dressed in suit jackets without ties, sat in the back as they sped away from the Clooney villa on the lake. There's no doubt that George Clooney is the kind of friend that you need. The Obama family was visiting the actor's villa Oriandra in the town of Laguillo for the weekend. Their boat was closely followed by a police escort, and the villa was surrounded police who kept the press and onlookers 150 meters away. President Obama may have been relaxing in Lake Como, but he has got a lot of work ahead in the upcoming Basketball Africa League. For now, a number of young African players have been picked in the NBA draft for US teams. Bol, the son of former Sudanese NBA player Manute Bol, is headed to the Denver Nuggets. Bruno Fernando became the first Angolan to be drafted in the NBA and will play for the Atlanta Hawks. Sudanese Marial Shayok will head to the Philadelphia 76ers. Mafiondo Kabengele from Congo, DRC, will play for the Los Angeles Clippers, and Rui Hachimura, who was born to a Beninese father and a Japanese mother, will play right here in Washington, D.C. for the Washington Wizards. And there is one former NBA player who is using his platform to help stop the spread of Ebola. U.S. health officials are turning to Basketball Hall of Famer Dikembe Mutombo, who helped to battle one of the deadliest Ebola outbreaks in history. Mutombo, regarded as one of the greatest defensive players in NBA history and a well-known philanthropist in his native Democratic Republic of Congo, recorded public service announcements designed to persuade people to take precautions to avoid additional outbreaks.
When there's something happening around the world, it should be a concern of everyone living on this planet. And I think the pandemic of Ebola is touching all of us. Because if it don't touch you today, it will touch you tomorrow.
Boxing legend Muhammad Ali thrilled the world as a champion boxer and political activist. After passing away in 2016, Ali's hometown of Louisville, Kentucky has memorialized him by officially naming its airport after him. The move also highlights one of Ali's most famous quirks. VOA's Ahan Burhanan has the story from Louisville.
No fight. Never worry about fights.
What do you worry about?
Nothing really. Only bad airplane flights. No fights.
People say Muhammad Ali feared no boxer, but he did fear something else.
And I think about the plane splitting and the long fall, and I say, why did I have to rush? I could have took a bus. Oh, Lord, if he just let me off of here, I'll take a train the next time.
His fear of plane travel was well known.
He was afraid to fly, so, that's just one of those things. Something he feared. It wasn't another man in the ring, I can tell you that.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Louisville, Kentucky.
Ironically, Ali's name is now a part of the aviation world.
So we thought it would be a fitting statement for us as a city to put, an exclamation point with his name that, okay, Muhammad, now we're naming the airport after you. It's time for you to get over your fear of flying.
In January, the Louisville Regional Airport Authority Board voted to rename its international airport after the hometown legend. The president of the Muhammad Ali Center says he hopes naming the airport after Ali will highlight his legacy.
So we want to make sure that the general public has a great understanding of why the airport was renamed and the importance that it represents to the Muhammad Ali Center, the family, the nation, and the world.
Ali was born and raised in Louisville and was buried here in 2016. This Kentucky city is still celebrating the man who became a global icon. Alam Burhanan, VOA News, Louisville, Kentucky.
From a legend in sports to one in music, and that is Sir Elton John, who received the Legion of Honor, France's highest award, during a visit to the presidential Élysée Palace. The singer first met with French President Emmanuel Macron before the two addressed the crowd at a palace event of France's annual music festival. The president's office said Macron was using the occasion to address replenishing a global fund to fight AIDS. John's own AIDS Foundation celebrated its 25th anniversary last year.
Like music, the fight against AIDS has been my passion for many, many years. And like music, this fight reminds me every day of the extraordinary power of the human spirit, and that things that bind us are stronger than those that divide us. It is this magical human spirit I will carry with me as a proud member of the Legion d'Honneur.
And before we go, let's check out Elton John's collaboration with Aaron Egerton. And thanks for watching VOA's Red Carpet. I'm your host, Jackson Vunganyi. Have a great weekend, everyone.